Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Minecraft. I am your humble host. See you later. I'm glad to have you back with me today. As you can see behind me, I made a little bit of some changes to our to-do list, our little job board over there. And I also did a lot of work on the sugarcane farm back there, as you can see. So let's go take a look at those two things right away, and we'll get right to it. Look, hey, we have a neighbor coming to see us over here. Hi, neighbor. How are you? Yeah, it looks like we have a little bit of an undead neighbor who was able to pathfind to us from quite a ways away. So let me go ahead and dispatch him so we can get back to what we were going to look at. So here is our to-do list. So I didn't change much. What I did do, I mentioned in the last episode, we made it an even number, and sometimes I just don't like even numbers in Minecraft. It makes things a little hard to build, doors one wide, two wide doors and things like that. It is possible, of course, but I thought for this it might do better and look better aesthetically if it was an odd number. So I just took down the dark oak logs there and moved everything over by one. Added a couple of glowstone lamps, some iron bars for decoration. I put a chest in here so we could keep our spare signs in case we need extras. And okay, so what I'm going to do here, so I've got the book. That was our to-do list. I named it the Book of Done Deals because what we're going to do is we're gonna open this guy up. And I'm just going to get rid of the to-do list altogether. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use this book, and we're going to write in this book when we finish things from our to-do list, so that we can, as we knock the signs down and rewrite them and put up new things, we'll basically have a record of what we've accomplished. So it's like an accomplishments. Something to remember back on what we did, and that'll be great for later on. So as you can see here, also in my hand, I have an item frame. Now, something I did was I noticed another YouTuber who was playing, and he had really cool stuff, laying out and some things mounted to walls, and I was wondering how he did that, and I looked it up. He used a texture pack that removes the texture from item frames. So basically, when I put this item frame up, it's there. It's right there. Can you see it? Nope. Can't see it. It's invisible. But we know it's there because if I try to put the book there, there it is. It's displayed in the item frame. And if you go like off of the item and to the area where the frame would be, you can still rotate the items around. So it works really well. One thing I haven't tested out yet is the AFK fishing farm that we have that uses item frame, but I'll just have to pick the spot on the wall when we're doing our right clicking, and hopefully that'll keep working. So for now, it works great. And then for the title, to make the title pop up like that, to show up in game, I also learned that if you look closely, you'll notice to the right of the S at the end, the gray border around the back is right up against the S. If you compare that to the left side of the space near the T, you can see it sticks out a little bit further. So basically what I learned was when you name an item in an anvil, if you just leave a space right before you type the words in there, whenever you put it in an item frame, it causes the whatever you named it to pop up. It's like a little floating title. I thought that was really neat. Kind of a noob thing, I guess. If you've been playing Minecraft for a long time, you probably already knew that a long time ago, but I thought I might go ahead and share that just in case you hadn't found that out. So I also made some banners. I haven't made banners before. Like I said before, I used to play in older versions of Minecraft when I was playing vanilla, and it was just something I never had gotten around to. I think 1.8 was the last time I played, and they just introduced banners at that time, but I didn't really use them or anything. So if you're interested, I can show you how to do this a little bit later, but there's lots of resources available online to teach you how to do the letters. And it's actually pretty easy once you try it. So I made a big sign here that says to do. And we just look at our little signs and we say, okay, we got Sugarcane Farm. We'll want to make a villager breeder. I would like to make a mob farm. So that's what I mentioned that we were going to work on today. Melon and pumpkin farm is something that I would like to talk about in a future episode. Definitely something I want to do, but it might be something that we hold off on for a while, and I'll talk about why in another episode. Iron farm, though, comes right after villager breeder because you need the villagers to get the iron farm working, and that's definitely something that we want to do now, very soon. And one of the reasons is because in the next update for Minecraft, current working versions of iron farms aren't going to work exactly the same way, and it might take a little bit more to get a good iron farm going. Another farm is another project that I didn't mention last time that I'd really like to work on, and that's basically where you go in and you go to a fortress and then you knock all the blocks down around the fortress and you use stone buttons and go around and place them all over the place for 120 or 130 blocks radius around where you are, and it makes it so you can make a really cool nether mob spawner farm, and it gives you wither skeletons and zombie pigmen and XP and blazes, and so you can get a lot of XP from it, but you get all those drops like the bones and the coal and things like that. Also wither skeleton skulls, which is something that I really want to get into pretty soon, because I'd really like to try beacon mining, something else that I haven't done before. Kelp farm. Kelp farm is definitely something we want to do soon, also before we do the auto smelter, because I'd like to incorporate the kelp farm into the auto smelter. A kelp farm, you can make dried kelp blocks if you smelt the kelp that you grow from it, and that process can be completely automated, and that's basically an unlimited source of renewable fuel that we can use to fuel our auto mega smelter, which would be really cool. As the in the addition to those things, an auto sorting system, which we experimented with a little bit down in the mines, that's definitely something that's coming up soon. And then another thing I have never done is I've never taken on an ocean monument. So this actually, even though it's at the end of this list, that might be something that we do really soon, because I'm very interested now, especially with the new water mechanics, in taking out some Elder Guardians and getting some Prismarine, maybe making a Guardian farm. I hear there's some pretty cool new ways that you can do that are not too labor intensive, so we might be trying that out in the future. But yeah, so I love our little to-do list here. I'm very happy we have the accomplishments book as well. I think this is going to be a cool idea. I called it the Book of Done Deals, because when you're done, like, it's a done deal, you're done. I'm done working on this, and time to move on to the next thing. So that's an accomplishment, and we'll record that in our book of done deals there. Okay, so let's get away from these annoyingly loud sheep. Let's take a look now at the creeper, who apparently I already got started with a mob farm. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something about that, because I think on top of those logs up there is some spawnable space. It's not lit up there, so what I might do is I might just get some brown carpets or something and put them up there so mobs can't spawn there. On the sides of this building, you can see the pattern. I kind of went down the side, and I used this to cover up some of the pistons and things like that were showing on the side, and then left the stone brick at the back part just to kind of, to show that the front is basically a facade. It's it's like a fake front to the actual building, or just a covering for the building. So yeah, and that I did with the spruce logs, so it was very convenient that we have a little spruce tree farm here next door. I harvested some leaves to make some bushes, put some glowstone underneath for some lighting up the front here. Again, the banners, I played around with some banner designs, and I came up with something that, well, I think that looks a little bit like sugarcane. There's the dirt, there's the sugar canes growing up, and you can see it's got the little lines going back and forth for the leaves. So I made a couple of these banners to represent our sugarcane farm, and then I carried that same kind of detailing idea over to this. I made a brown stained glass, and this is cyan stained glass, like to represent the sky, kind of like I did there, and with just some green stained glass in the window. So that's our sugarcane stained glass window. It could also be a cactus stained glass window, but we're using our imagination there. That this one is for sugarcane. Also, in the vein of trying to tie some ideas together for the walls here, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to make the walls out of here, and I actually found that this works pretty well. The brown terracotta and lime green terracotta, and if you notice, I don't know if it's obvious, but we've got the brown with the green, brown, green, brown, green. This basically represents the sugarcane as well. So I might use the same motif when it comes to cactus if we make a big cactus farm. But I like tying the function of the building into the aesthetics whenever possible. So let's take a look. Here's the front of the sugarcane farm, and that's pretty much what you saw. Were those two modules in the last episode, and then I made the third module. Okay, and then those three modules consist of 2 layers each, so we have 6 sets of these sugarcane growing with 30 sugarcane in each set. So don't ask me to do math while I'm recording. It won't happen. Oh, spoiler alert. I was going to show you that in a minute. So yeah, I'll get to that in a second. So what did I do here? I spent some time playing around with lighting. I've got some end rods down under the floor with some white stained glass, which is the same stained glass we use here. And this actually worked really well. I really like the idea of this floor lighting, where you've got like kind of like a light bulb, if you will, in the floor, and there's glass that you can walk on top, and it lights the floor up very well. I looked even in these corners over here at the light levels, and the light levels over here are still at level 8, and that's even with these stairs and the other blocks in the way, which I believe these let light through when they're not being closed off anyway. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. So yeah, basically the sugarcane, gets popped off by the pistons from the timer in the back that I showed you in the last episode, and it works really well. It is a very low loss. It's not 0 loss. Every time I come over here, I check and see if there's some sugarcanes floating. Every once in a while, I'll see some floating around that didn't make it into the water stream. But with the amount that we're making, it's a very small amount, so I consider it to be quite insignificant. So when you walk in over here, oh, and there it just fired. That's great. So we can see the sugar canes flowing in. That one's moving kind of slow, then it picks up speed. Now you'll notice, maybe you'll see there's looks like a hole above this chest and a hole above this chest, but there is a half slab there. And basically I put the half slab so that I could open the chest. Now, let's get into some of the technical stuff. What I did was I made a shulker loading system. And so basically I went to the end, I got some more shulker boxes. I made a bunch of these lime shulker boxes just to keep things color coordinated. And you can see we have these 4 shulker boxes that are full of sugarcane. I'll take one out and open it up here. And you see we have a full shulker box of sugarcane. Now, this little area over here, if I take the box out and I grab some sugarcane out and I want to do some crafting, I've got a crafting table. I can craft some paper. I've got some supplies over here for making books. Put this extra sugarcane back in here. And then what I did was I just put up a painting, I made this little desk lamp with an end rod and a carpet on top. I thought that was kind of a cool little modern looking desk lamp design. Uh, Random bookshelf, random chest, nothing in it, just there for basically for decoration. I made some flower pots and put some flowers in, little dandelions, and up there's a little our little cactus. And then over here, I've got some of the aesthetic stuff that I was using, some leaves and some flowers that I collected. So in case we want to put some more, we'll have those for later. But yeah, so this is a nifty little crafting area. Again, I'm using the invisible item frame. So here you can see we've got some super premium paper. That's what we make here at the Sugarcane Farm. We're making super premium paper. And that's because one of the things I've been working on is I am writing a guide to better bookbinding. So let's take a look at this real quick. It says, "Welcome to the guide to better bookbinding. We hope that you will heed these instructions as they will surely aid you in crafting the finest quality papers, selecting premium leathers, and combining them in new and exciting ways." With 2 W's, spell check, for years to come. And then it's going to have several chapters. So we'll have expert papercraft, and this will be like a how-to guide on crafting paper. And then understanding fine leathers. This will be all about collecting leather and then techniques of binding, which will be how to put those together to make high quality books. And then where to take your techniques from there. And then also some commentary on the future of bookbinding. So just a little fun thing I thought was kind of neat. And I figured it would be something cool we could work on, throughout the series. I've also got a anvil over here. And I was thinking, I just put it down temporarily because I was naming these stuff in the, in the anvil. But yeah, I think I'll just leave it here in case I want to name anything else. I can. Maybe we'll sort through this leather and we'll see which ones of them are good and which ones of them are fine and which one of them are exquisite, and maybe we'll identify some of them. Who knows? So we'll do a little role play that way. Anyway, so yeah, so full shulker boxes full of sugarcane will show up in this chest. There's an item elevator that lifts them up from underneath. And light is on, sugarcane growing. I know there's supposed to be a G there, but I like saying sugarcane a growing. Anyway, but if I turn this off, the light goes off. And I'll be honest, when I first put this light here, I just made it because I wanted to match that one and it didn't have a function. But after some thought, I actually did tie this switch in to the timer in the very back of the farm, which took a lot of digging and redstone to go around the back. But it is a functional switch now, so anytime this light is on, the timer is timing and the pistons are waiting to fire. And then if for some reason we fill up or if there's a problem and we need to shut things off, I can shut it off. And it's an inverted signal, so when this is off, there's an inverter that will send power to those hoppers in the back, and that'll lock them, so the timer will stop in that situation. So we'll just leave it on for now. And then over here on the left we have the shulker input, and this says fill when light is on. So basically, if for some reason our last shulker box goes into the loader, then there's a dispenser down there that will become empty. And if it is empty, it will lose the signal to a comparator. And that comparator feeds into an inverter, which will end up causing a redstone torch to eliminate this light. So if we come down here and this light is on, that means all of our shulkers are in here full, and that we only have one or none left down below. Now, when I say down below, that was what this was all about over here when I kind of freaked out earlier. Because as you can see, I've got like these little chiseled stone over here. And there's a lever over this crafting table. So if I come over here and I open that, see there's a couple of sticky pistons behind there and a ladder. And that's our little hidden access to come down to the redstone for this room. Now, I won't go too much into how this works, but I will just give you the basics, okay? So here's our shulker loader. if we take empty shulker boxes and put them in here, it goes down through these hoppers, goes right down there and goes into that dispenser. And as you can see, here we have empty shulker boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out so I can show you how this works. That one is partially full, so I'll go ahead and take that out. Now, as soon as I took that out, did you notice that light turned on? So that's the light that tells us that our dispenser is empty. If I put one empty shulker box in there, the light goes out. And yeah, that just works off of a comparator signal. Then we can access the shulker that's here, that's been dispensed. Right here, if we right click on it, we can open it and we can see the progress of the filling. You can also access it from this side over here. Okay, and I have a bunch of stone covering this up because when this piston right here, this sticky piston with a half slab on there, when it extends, it pushes this down and there is soul sand underneath there with a hopper underneath. The soul sand is not a full block, which means the hopper is able to suck it up through the block. Soul sand looks like a full block, but it's very slightly shorter than a full block, which allows it to function as a like a half slab over a hopper, or a carpet over a hopper. The hopper will pick things up through that block, which is really useful for a lot of different things. But anyway, yeah, so what happens is the dispenser pushes out a shulker box, and when it does, it always faces up. So as long as you have a half slab here, you can open it. If you have a full block, it'll still work, but you won't have access to your shulker box. Then the sugarcane goes down the water streams. Let me show you real quick. The sugarcane will flow down the water streams, and what I had to do was make another water stream here that goes back, and so there's no hopper there anymore. It pushes the water stream back to the very back of this room, back to right here. So that water stream ends. This block is solid and the water stream ends right on top of this hopper. All the sugar that comes down goes down into that hopper, down into that hopper, down into this hopper, and then this hopper will feed the sugarcane in to the shulker box. Now, once the shulker box is full, completely full with sugarcane, this comparator, which is comparing the signal of strength of this redstone to the output of that shulker box, this comparator will not light up until that shulker box equals this signal. That's why we have the redstone dust and a lever. If I were to turn this lever off, then the shulker box would be full enough to give an output to this comparator, and that'll actually power this block, this redstone, this repeater, and it will extend the piston and break the shulker box, and that'll put the shulker box into the item elevator right over here. Okay, so we definitely want to just leave that alone. This one, if you want to check a signal strength, you can press F3, and if you look over on the right side, about 2/3 down, it says targeted block, Minecraft's redstone wire, east side, north side, power 15. That's what we want to know, power 15. So when this box is full, it will actually give through this block, it'll act, the comparator can actually pick up a signal from a storage container through a block, which is really cool. That allows you to put the solid block there to help keep this thing from actually accidentally popping off in the wrong direction. But its signal strength when it's full will be 15. So the comparator compares. It compares the signal of 15 to this signal of 15, and when they're equal to each other, it lights up. When it lights up and it causes the piston to push down, it also sends a signal over here on this repeater, which is on just 2-tick delay, and it powers this block that's connected to the dispenser. And the dispenser will then, as long as you have an empty box in there, the dispenser will then dispense it out. So these are all empty. This one is partially full. Okay, so it says sugarcane times 64 and 4 more. If it's full, it says and 22 more. That's how you know it's a full box. So I'll go ahead and stick this in here. you'll see there's just one there. This light went off when we did that. And then I'm going to flip this lever, which should break the shulker box, and I'm just going to do it really quick because I just want it to break it and then do put another one. So let's see if it does that. Okay, so it broke the one that was in there, and it placed. Oh, did I do it too quick? I think I might have done it too quick. It didn't actually have a chance to break. Oh, nope. That is the one. Okay, so that was the partially full. Oh, yeah, okay. There you go. That was the partially full one. Now, the other partially full one that was there went through the soul sand, into those hoppers right underneath there, and into this dropper right here, which is facing up. Now that dropper goes into that dropper, into that dropper, into that dropper, and then just on the other side of the lamp up above is the chest. And these just eject right into the chest. So if we were to go back upstairs, we should see that there is that partially filled shulker box in there. And that's basically, yeah, there we go. There's another one. And this one had a different amount than the other one. Let me just check that. Yep, see, the other one had 64 all the way, and this one stops at 48. So yeah, that was the right one. Whoops, I knocked the item frame off. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just leave that one because that's fine. And then you notice that when that's empty, the light came back on to let us know we need to load more shulkers in. So I'll go ahead and put all of these back in. All right, and that system is working. Now, how does the items get back up to the chest up there? The way that works is, now I had to do some funky stuff for the switch that turns the power for the whole place on and off. So you'll have to excuse. Yeah. Oh, actually, the thing just fired. Let me see if we can see. Yep, you can see Sugarcane coming in just now. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And every time the farm fires, it's just about a little under a stack and a half of sugarcane. So it's actually pretty good. So I'm going to tear up redstone if I open any of these blocks up. So let me just see if I can explain as best I can. There's a comparator and a redstone just like this on the other side of the... If you just rotated this around on the other side of these two blocks, just like that. But the one on the other side, the comparator on the other side, is comparing this dropper. So as soon as an item goes in this dropper, just like that, you see it disappeared because the comparator turns off this redstone torch. And this is just a little, like a little hopper clock over here that stays locked all of the time unless there is an item in that dropper. So when this torch goes off, there's a piece of dirt in here that will bounce back and forth as many times as there is items in that dropper. And then once that dirt goes over into this side, it takes a comparator signal out of this hopper when the dirt is in it, and it actually turns off the other redstone torch that's just on the other side that you can't see there. Then there's a little bit of a torch tower that goes up. You can kind of see torch on the other side of this block, and then opposite is this torch here. You can see that one's off, and then the one on the other side of this block would be on and then off, just like that, all the way to the top of this, and then another set of redstone torches that are activating the dispensers, basically in sequence. Now this design, there is a tutorial on the internet for this design. I can't remember the guy's name that I saw the tutorial for, but one of the reasons I like this one better than the Mumbo design or some of the other ones that I've seen, there's so many different types of item elevators. Once you set this one up, it's silent. Okay, you know, I put that piece of sugarcane in there. You saw it disappear. If I put this stone in, just listen. There's no click, 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 click like you would hear from others. And if we hop up here real quick, you should see, if everything's working perfectly, there's the sugarcane and there's the stone. So we know our shulker boxes are gonna head up there. Now, I will be quite honest with you. I did have some trouble. I went into Creative World and I tried to set up shulker loaders. I spent hours watching tutorials and trying to figure out like how nobody's system was set up to work the way I wanted mine. And the reason was because of the position of my input hopper, okay, and the aesthetics. I wanted to not have weird like one chest sideways and the other chest pointing back the other way and having them not centered and things like that. So one of the things I wanted to share with you guys is how did I come up with the idea of the way to do this? Okay, I mined out, see where the water, this block right here is holding up the water. I went from this block right here all the way over to this block and these 2 rows of floor, and I mined out all of that area inside of there and made a big giant space. And then to figure out how to get my system to work properly, I started at the very end. And what do I mean by that? The first thing I did was the last thing, which is these chests. So I put this chest where I wanted it, and I put that chest where I wanted it, and then I went downstairs and I said, okay, that chest is where the hoppers are going to come down from, okay? And then the other chest, I need to make an item elevator going up to it. That wouldn't work with the hopper in the front, so that's why I moved the hopper to the back and put in an extra water stream. And once I moved that hopper to the back, the system basically fell together. I had plenty of space for this compact little redstone setup for the breaking and the loading of new boxes once this gets full. And there was also plenty of space over here for the clock and mechanism for the item elevator. Okay, and that's my suggestion if you're having an issue with, well, how do I get started building this in my survival world, or I watched so many tutorials but nobody builds it the way I need it to be built. Okay, so that's a part of the game if you're working on redstone, is just trying to figure out how to get things to work in the space that you have to end with the aesthetic that you want. So because I hope you're not just building things just purely functional. I hope that you will build things that work very well and reliable. This is a tested design and lots of people use it. Guys on the Hermitcraft server, people like that. But this is the design I needed. No one has done it exactly the way I've done it because they did not have this space constraints that I did, or maybe they did it even smaller, or maybe they had a much larger space and theirs was more spread out to use less hoppers, things like that. This used quite a few hoppers. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I think 9, 10, 11, 12. So at least 12 hoppers. I want to say more like 15, but there might be a couple that I'm not seeing. And that takes a lot of iron when you're in survival. A lot of mining. I don't have an iron farm. All the iron that we're using is coming out of the ground. And I spend hours on hours mining. So you might have noticed also there's a couple of pistons up here that are not being powered right now. Remember I said that the water is flowing. See this half slab right here? There is water just on top of that half slab. And there's water on top of this hopper as well. Well, what happened was, it's kind of a funny story, was I heard something. I was standing up here and I heard something. And it sounded like this. Obviously it was a baby zombie. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but when you're trying to find a baby zombie, okay, they can hide in very small places. So I busted this open, was searching all around. I know that this design will allow for mobs to spawn inside occasionally. Okay, just want to let you know. Baby zombies, I was kind of expecting it. But what I'd forgotten was, because I added this water stream right here, mobs don't float anymore. Mobs sink. So the baby zombie either came from the middle. I don't know. I wasn't here when he spawned. but he came from one of those sides and through this water stream, and he went down into the back over that hopper. I spent, I want to say 20 minutes just kind of walking around and digging things and going around, and I went down here because I could hear him, and he was really loud when I was down here. And then I wasn't able to find him, and I was really afraid of busting up my redstone work that I'd put in as well. So what I did was, I'm going to show you what I did. I went here and I went game mode, and this only works if you have cheats turned on. But I mentioned earlier, because of different administrative things that I'm doing with the world, I need to have this ability. So, but here is an example where this really comes in handy. And I'm not cheating, like, you know, like I'm not giving myself blocks or items or anything like that. I'm just using it for situations just like this. I couldn't find that little sucker, and I knew he was in a space somewhere, and I knew all of this space was solid. So I popped into spectator mode, and spectator mode allows you to fly through blocks and to see through space. And as soon as I popped up, he was right there. He had floated down this water stream, and he was standing on top of this hopper right here. Even though this is a one high space, it's a baby zombie, you know, they cause all kinds of trouble. And guess what he was holding in his hand? He was holding a sugarcane in his hand. So he'd been there long enough for the system to fire off and the sugarcanes to come down, and he picked one up. And I don't know if you guys all know this or not, but whenever your mobs, like a zombie, whenever he picks something up, he will not despawn. If he's the type of creature that will, let me just switch back to the game mode for survival real quick. All right. So any mob that can pick things up, like I don't know if skeletons can pick things up, but definitely zombies. Zombies pick things up all the time. If you throw something near a zombie, it'll pick it up. If it's a weapon, I think it'll even use it or try to use it on you. But while that baby zombie had that sugarcane in his hand, he would not despawn. So just like villagers and our farm animals and things like that, no matter how far away I would go, no matter what I would do, log off, log in, whatever, I wouldn't be able to get him to like naturally pop out of existence. He would just stay. It would be persistent, and I don't know about you guys, but I cannot handle that. So what I did was, I made a lovely little caring baby zombie killing machine, basically. So what you end up having to do is, if you get a baby zombie trapped in here in this water stream, which, because I am expecting that to happen again, you know, I think that's just something that it's a part of the game, and there might be something I could do to stop it from happening, but you know, if it's happening so rarely, you know, it only happened the once. But I thought now is the time I should take the opportunity to try to make a fix so that I don't have to go into, you know, some other mode. And literally to get that one out, I had to like dig back, and there's water up there, so it's so dangerous. As soon as the water comes down, it's going to wipe out all your redstone and wipe out all your torches. So those hours and hours of work of putting all this stuff together, you'd have to redo it, and I didn't want that to happen. So basically, I thought of the simplest possible thing. The water is pushing the little baby zombie back on top of this hopper, so I don't want him to, you know, pop out. So if I extend this piston, I've trapped him in a one wide space. And then if I extend the second piston, well, I think you guys know what happens when I extend the second piston. Our baby zombie is going to be no more. It'll crush him to death. So there we go. There's my solution for getting rid of baby zombies in a one wide space. You know, build a crusher. And because the water there is flowing water, the source is way back over that way. It doesn't matter how I open or close these pistons, the water will always come back, and the sugar canes will see the sugar canes that came just now. They're going to make their way into the system and into the shulker box. So no worries about that. But yeah, so baby killer. That's my little zombie baby killer. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to show you was this light right here. So to get this light to turn on, basically it's the lever up there powers this block, and this block causes that light to come on. So the light just is on whenever the lever is on. All right, but the functionality of it is on the other end over here, and I can't even get up there because I had to cover all this stuff up. But the way this works is there is a piece of redstone underneath that block right there, and that piece of redstone feeds into this repeater. So whenever the lever is on and that block right there is powered, the redstone will I'm really afraid to break blocks because I don't want to, because I'm going to break something. I'll break that one, I think is okay. Alright, so yeah, so see that? See the redstone? So the lever is attached to this block on the other side of that wall. And when this block is hard powered by the lever, this redstone will sense that, since it's basically in this block space next to it. And then I can send that into the repeater, and then I made a long repeater chain that actually took a few different let me put this block back here. I made a long chain that goes around here, around that way, through here, and up here, and I blocked everything off that could be blocked off. That block has a redstone torch on the other side of it, so as long as this has power going into it, the redstone torch will be off, and the redstone follows on out to the back, and I'll go back and show you where it comes out. You can see this is where the redstone came from, all the way underneath, and it's off right now because that inverter. See if I can get back there. Yeah, here is the let me grab that dirt. I'll just dig back a little bit more. So there's the redstone that we were looking at from inside. There's the block that we saw. Alright, so the redstone goes into that, powered, and turns off this torch right here. So if we turn the lever off and the light goes off, this will have no power and this torch will come on. If that happens, all we had to do is send the power over to this block, and this block has a redstone torch that's on, and I made a tiny torch tower. That one is on, so if I put it underneath a block with a redstone, that one is off. Okay, this one is off, and on top of that block is redstone. So as long as this is off, this is off. This redstone draped across the top of here will stop the timer. It'll lock the hoppers and stop the timer. So that's the mechanism that we use to turn off the sugarcane farm. And yeah, so I hope that's not too much technical information for you guys. I am so glad that you came to hang out with me for a little bit, and I hope you like the sugarcane farm. I really, you know, I'm not that big into the aesthetic builds. I really wanted to work on that and make it a part of something that I get better at as I play this game. I'm usually more of a technical person, and also I'm not a good redstoner because in my technical experience in Minecraft is mostly with modded. I spent most of my time in the past years playing modded Minecraft. I have fallen in love with vanilla Minecraft again because there's so much fun stuff and so many challenges that you can do, and you know, you can challenge yourself. You know, it's not just about, well, fight the Ender Dragon and then the game is over. No, challenge yourself creatively. Try to figure out solutions, creative solutions to problems. You know, I had a big ugly building over there that was made of stone brick and for the sugarcane farm. So now I've covered it up with a big ugly building made out of spruce logs. But we're growing and we're learning. And like I always say, this is your game. You should play it like you want to. And I'm see you later. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. please come back and see me again next time. Thank you so much, everyone, for all of the likes and the comments, and even just the views. You're making me feel really great that people are paying attention, even my family and other people. And I just want to say thank you so much. And I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me. Come back again next time, okay? And I'll probably have a barn up. And then next time, I promise we're going to work on a mob farm. Because I'm going to call the sugarcane a done deal for now. It's a done deal. I'll put it in the book over there. And then we'll start on the next project. See you later, guys. And see you later. See you later. Bye-bye.